somewhere along the line, it is going to be game 2 of Tectonic versus Direwolves kicking off soon. And game 1 was actually pretty spectacularly one-sided.
It was a bit of a poopsie from Tectonic, for lack of a better word. That
this better not stick around. Let's get off the potty humor.
That was an incredibly one-sided, dominant victory from Direwolves from the get-go. Of course, Tim spoke about the early game. Tectonic did have like a few picks here and there. They found windows, but unfortunately, Direwolves just maintained control for the rest of the time.
I have a question.
Okay.
When did you first start playing League of Legends?
I don't know the time, but the first patch I remember is Vayne patch, like when she was released.
Okay, so you played pretty early on.
Yeah.
So historically, Twisted Fate Ultimate was global.
Yep.
And Shen Ultimate and Nocturne Ultimates were also very, very large. In fact, Rank 3 Nocturne Ultimate was nearly a global.
Yep, the entire map.
When people say, is this the darkest timeline? Are we playing Season 1 League of Legends? Are we playing Season 1 League of Legends, Bryce? Have we come full circle? Shen Nocturne, they have been out for all of 8 years.
The one thing...
There's no dashes in these champions. Like, creep, like what? Mobility creep?
Yeah.
Creeping into League of Legends?
I was real on that train for a long time, but I was like, yeah, Brand is just so bad. He doesn't have 6 dashes like anyone else. But Season 1 Worlds was the first time 80 carry support meta like became a thing. And now we're in a meta where 80 carries and supports just like aren't even being played. So we're not going back to Season 1.
Why not?
I
mean, we are, because at the same time, whilst we're playing 80 carry support, at the same tournament, Epic Gamer was also playing Garen Lee Sin bottom lane.
Yeah.
Which is double bruiser.
I mean, that
I
sounds
don't want
to me in 8.12.
Absolutely.
So,
kick him back into the Garen big time.
Yeah.
I'm actually waiting for Garen to come out.
I think you'll be waiting for a while.
I'm waiting for one of these weird tank bottom lanes that requires your champions to both press buttons at the same time, and Garen to just be picked as like a bruiser, like a Garen Braum lane against like an Ornn Alistar lane. I reckon Garen Braum wins that lane.
Garen's combo is Q, auto attack, spin with no auto attack.
Yeah, but they're getting knocked up, they're getting ignited.
He's like, proc the passive, proc the passive, proc the passive, and you're just like spinning away.
You're just like, Demacia!
I don't think that fits, mate. I don't think that fits.
No, I reckon Garen Braum wins that lane. We're going to play it.
All right, we can
I'll play the Garen Braum lane. You play the Alistar Ornn.
I have no faith.
We have to play them both at the same time, though. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Okay, that's
we're equally skilled players. It's going to be Tectonic on the blue side, Direwolves on the red side. It's going to be Ornn, Zoe, as well as Aurelia banned away, and it's going to be Lulu Lucian banned away by the Direwolves, and Nocturne. They obviously prize that pick pretty highly.
But of course, the Talia is still going to be up and available if Sybil wants to pick it, but Direwolves just showed exactly how you can shut that one down, albeit with the Nocturne. They banned away the Lucian and the Lulu again, obviously respecting the fact that Lulu is incredibly strong and Guncrab's performance on Lucian last week. So,
did you see the changes proposed for Fizz W?
On 13?
Yep.
No.
Well, then let's not talk about it. Talia is going to be locked in first pick. I didn't see them either. I just saw the Reddit thread that said proposed changes to Fizz W.
You're that guy that reads the article and then just tells everyone, like, reads the headline without reading the article and tells everyone.
Yeah, I'm the top post.
You're
I know, like, that's my job. I'm like, hey guys, I read this. You might want to look into it and tell me whether it's good or not. It's going to be Karma as well as the Hecarim locked in.
Going back to what we saw last week, very similar to what we just saw in Game 1 with the Nocturne. And Triple might just be on Karma duty once again, but, I mean, if it works, then you don't need to fix it.
If it works, you don't need to fix it. That is true of a lot of things in life.
And they actually go for the cannon. Guncrab was the first 80 carry. They talked to me about Kenneth. And of course, we saw Darkside play it last week. Was not successful in that game, but
has played it in the LPL.
Yep. Overseas. I'm talking Oceanic.
Okay. And, sorry, I was just trying to add some validity to the pick.
What do you mean? We saw it. We saw it. But pretty good laning phase, especially when you pair it with a counter pick. You have the CC from the 80 carry pre-6, which isn't really something that you can talk about for a lot of things. Charlie Wraith was saying in his interview that once you get that on hit, once you get the Bork, you just do so much damage. Bork champions have that extra sustain in the laning phase, so can do a lot early.
Self-peel is available. You can have a Hecarim sitting on your head for a lot of this game, I would assume.
Yep.
So, you know, just be able to pop that ultimate, press W, which you will probably be maxing first. And it's actually going to be carry off in the top lane. We've been waiting for this. It's going to be Darius versus the Aatrox.
We haven't seen it yet. We've seen so many Aatrox bans. It's been played overseas, but has not been picked in the OPL by a Panther. Pick that up. I'm excited. We need to get as many Aatrox games in before he gets reworked as possible.
Aatrox is busted at the moment. I honestly think he is the best champion. Situation
in League of Legends. Oh, you can't make just an overall broad statement and then like little quotes behind it in some situation.
No, but the thing is that the situations are pretty broad.
Yep. Okay.
Like, if they have a protect the 80 carry comp, I don't think he's good.
Okay.
That is the only time I don't think he's good. In every other situation, I think he's very, very good.
He does so much burst damage.
He just does sustain damage, burst damage, has an AoE knock-up, has a massive slow, and his auto-attack range is giant because they couldn't fix creep block, so they just made his auto-attack range huge.
I mean, he's got a real long sword.
And now, yeah, it's huge, actually. And now he just, like, pummels you with it, and he builds Giznus as well of all items.
Because, like, the burst damage is the one that sticks to me, because you look at Aatrox and you're like, dude has an enormous sword, like, his W is literally like a switch between getting health back and just dealing more damage. And so, like, the sustained damage is there. Like, the kit's built around it. But then he hits you with a Q, the ulti. All of a sudden, you just get absolutely demolished. It's no fun. It's no fun when that happens.
Of course. Ginsu's turns a 3-hit passive into, most of the time, a 2-hit passive. So just able to continually wail on you.
This is very interesting comp coming out of the Direwolves. You assume that's going to go into the bottom lane.
Yeah.
But, there is flexibility.
Solo lane Maud was actually something that shut down Bruiser's top lane very hard. In every matchup, if you auto-attack trade versus Darius, you nearly lose. Mordekaiser, I'm not so sure. That third strike, if he cleans out a wave beforehand, real hurt.
Yeah, it just
Go ask Imp from 2015 Worlds how much that hurts, because a guy literally nearly ended his career over a Mordekaiser third hitting him.
And I kind of like Mordekaiser in 8.12 because Banner of Command, something we haven't really touched on, has been removed. And these sort of compositions where you have tons of bruises struggle to end out games if they can't get access to turrets. But if you can pick up a dragon, you have a reliable way to siege down turrets, things like that. It gives you just a little bit of extra damage there, which is what an 80 carry normally brings.
Bryce, I have a question for you.
All right.
Are you ready for trans? Has locked in the Pyke.
This is going to be the third player we've seen play it. We've seen Rosie, we've seen Jake. We've seen a lot of mixed success. We had some successful games from the Pyke player, but then like ultimately like lose.
Yep.
And once you fall behind, it turns into a little bit of a poo. Bit of a poopsie. We
haven't even talked about the Syndra that's just been locked in. I feel like we missed half the... well, we didn't do it. I missed half of the Champions League. I'll own up to it. But Alistair Mordekaiser, talk me through this bottom lane. They're going to have a lot of sustain.
Yes, you absolutely are. And when you put that Mord passive onto the alley, like you go in, you have that engage. He's a champion that does so much damage. You talked about the third hit. Once you get onto someone, this is against a double dashless 80 carry, or a dashless 80 carry with the Pyke as well. Pretty melee range other than the hook. So you want to be able to force those fights. And if you have that all-in potential, Direwolf's going to have so much control. If they don't, then it's going to be pretty hard.
And for those that don't read what their abilities do, which I know is like half the people in the OPL, and I'm looking at you when I say that. Mordekaiser W puts the whirling metal of death on someone, but you run quicker when you run towards them. So you put it on Alistair, they headbutt Pole Vin. You speed up as you run towards them. It's one of the quality of life changes Mordekaiser got. However, the real thing I want to talk about is, with the exception of Karma, Direwolves have probably picked the 4 biggest champion models in League of Legends.
Yeah, I reckon you're probably right. There was a video years ago that was all about Hecarim support, and you just bought an Elixir of Iron, and you didn't play a real support style. You just stood on top of the creeps so they couldn't hit them because your hitbox was too big. I like that video.
That's a good support style.
How
do you get gold?
That is like River Shen tier outplay.
So let's just recap that support style. You lock in Hecarim.
Yep.
You go bottom lane. First item Elixir.
I think so.
Iron?
Otherwise, it was that, or you get some gold on your base and you rush it.
And then you just stand on top of creeps. Of course, we're in Tectonic versus Direwolves. First question for you, Mr. Cyclone, is why are you not playing support Hecarim with Elixir of Iron to deny farm away from this Mordekaiser?
Honestly, I just hadn't thought of it. You're a genius.
I didn't think of it. Bryce did. Don't give credit to me. In all seriousness, though, young roster still playing with a substitute.
Yeah.
Huge win coming off the back of the order matchup. I know that you're very big into the psychology of coaching. How did you keep your team grounded this week and, get the reset happening and try and get them, back into the zone for a big game versus Direwolves?
We pick stuff that they're not good at and they lose, and then we get to learn. and that brings people down to earth real quick.
Ah, I like that. I've experienced that. That's a good strategy. I want to go a little bit further in time. Of course, Gunkrab is your substitute. Are you guys like, if you're happy to answer this question, splitting scrim time with Gunkrab? Like his value is obviously in the country, but not playing. What's going on there?
No, we've not been actively splitting scrim time with Gunkrab since Ross or Value arrived. But we did play some scrims with him before Ross arrived.
Okay.
All right, cool. And of course, the last question coming into this. What is the goal of this roster? You gave me a really, build, playoffs would be nice, and you came in and you took my team out, absolutely destroyed us. I feel like you lulled me into a bit of a false sense of security. Is it still just continue to grow, or is there something there that you now think that you can make that run?
Well, we've grown a bit, so now we're going to try and grow a lot faster because we're further ahead than we thought we'd be. It's been pretty incredible to see how quickly these guys have been learning, and it's really exciting to think about if we continue this pace where we could end up. But obviously our last game was not what we wanted. All
right, yeah, of course. But talk to me about Trance in that aspect then, as your jungler is going to visit bottom lane and potentially go for a gank. Hold that thought. That's a good flash out of King. Blows it early. Now Sybil in some trouble. Shern will pop the ghost. Will do half of his health. Flash pole. First blood picked up for the Direwolf lineup. Trance also probably going to have to flash now. Will do it. Gets underneath turret. So that bad news aside, how much is Trance adding to this team?
Trance is brilliant. Yeah, he's got a really great mind for the subtlety of macro and like where your pressure can go and like the timings and stuff. Timing is something that I feel like a lot of players, at least in this region, aren't very sensitive to. So it's really cool to have another voice who has experience with that, and he can talk about it in the game, and then we can kind of reinforce the ideas afterwards. So yeah, he's added a lot of value, and I'm looking forward to Value doing the same thing.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. We're just madly gesturing at each other, and Johnny's just sitting here laughing at us. Thank you for joining us. Best of luck in this game. Hopefully we go to Game 3.
As during that interview, of course, you got to cast it, but we didn't get to talk about what actually happened. Schönfire was on the Nocturne last game, this time on the Hecarim, once again versus Sybil on the Taliyah. And has all of a sudden found himself with the first gank success, got that first blood cupcake with a very nice setup, flash pole, but this is not how these matchups should be going in the early game.
Absolutely not. Taliyah is renowned as the best early game jungler. We even heard Sharp say her strength is all about the level 1 to 3, the cheesy ganks, the ability to get into lanes. And Sybil went for it this time, but the counter gank was read spectacularly by Shern.
Yeah, the turnaround just so potent from Direwolves, as Sybil's still level 2 right now. Schönfire hitting level 3. He's looking for a bit of an invade, but Schönfire is there with a level lead.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to knock the Scryer's Bloom towards him. There's all well and good knowing where a jungler is. You can't stop him, though. What's the point? There's a very nice setup coming out, but that's a huge headbutt pulverized, and you can see already the stun will be channeled, and the third strike will not come down because he gets stunned up. Gunkrab saves his support.
Incredibly close, though. That's a flashless Pike, a flashless Cannon, and Cupcake got a combo onto both of them. Those summoners being down means the all-in potential from Direwolf's bottom lane is so potent, that was incredibly close to being another kill.
We now take a look at top lane. You can see Sybil still scouting out where Shern is. They will now ping onto Sybil. He's going to get some damage onto Shern, but big damage one more time over the wall. Good hook coming out. That will be the passive pop. Not just yet. You're going to have to auto him another couple of times. The heal will also be there. Flick will land. Paparize will walk away.
Oh, and that's going to be another kill into the bottom lane.
What is happening down there?
Going to have to get a replay, but that is a flashless Cannon. They get the combo. That's going to be the kill. Top side. 2v2 was incredibly close, of course. Aatrox has that passive. Once he builds up the Blood Well, can get that little GA prop.
Certainly can. Now in the mid lane, you can see Flash early out of triple. That is an shock. Cannot continue the chase. Sybil wants it. Will take a Q to the face, and that might deter him.
But Sybil is constantly looking for these plays. He hasn't farmed in so long. Only 16 CS. Schönfire's a whole couple of camps ahead as we see how this happened. That's just a combo landing. Didn't even get the E, but King just able to chase him down. Nice hook from Trance to buy some space, but gets hits up with the arc, and that's another kill.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you can see Shern knowing from the CS values that really Sybil hasn't been putting his camps on cooldown. We'll walk in. This is a level 1 Gromp. So even without Smite, shouldn't do all that much damage to him.
He's going to be able to take that one away. Has the Scries. Play. Have to see if Schönfire hits it away from him or into the enemy jungle. He's the kind of player that constantly hits it backwards. Or does he just not hit it at all? Does. Wants to pressure the top side. All of a sudden, Paprise is going to see that. have to back away despite Schönfire being too low to realistically gank the Darius. We just get one shot by the ultimate.
And this is the worst feeling in League of Legends, where you're on the lane bully because they took teleport and took an early base. Your Umi can't push your wave out in time. And if Triple wants to be a real jerk here, because he's Karma, he can actually walk up, meet this creep wave, and just put a shield on and just hold it there.
He can also just walk up and cancel the recall if he wants. He can walk through this, look for a Mancha Q, and he's going to go for it.
Yeah, he's
and that's it.
Big gold jerk.
That hurts.
You can see about 6 assist me pings come out of Shock straight away. He says, if this does not hit turret, I cannot recall, and if I cannot recall, I am out of this game.
And that's Sybil being drawn to another lane, not able to farm up his cans, but in saying that, doesn't have a lot available right now. Trance did roam up as well. He's the kind of player that leaves lane a lot, I feel like. We've seen, when you talk about Tectonic, he kind of goes under the radar. Cyclone was saying he has a lot of success with
this is actually big damage coming out. One more, that will be the dunk. Will the bleed be enough? One more tick. Yes, it will be. Kill for Paprise.
It's a CS lead, 20 for Paprise. Gets the kill as well. Schönfire somehow picks up Sybil on the back end of that one as well, so Punish on the other side of the map.
He is an Electrocute Sheen Rush Hecarim.
That does a lot of damage.
That's so much damage, Bryce.
That's 3-6. First base gets the red smite, gets the Sheen. That burst is enormous. This is a Taliyah that's behind the clock once again. This is exactly what we saw last game, and he never found a way back in. Cupcake, just as I compliment Trance with the roam, does exactly the same thing, gets behind the jungler of Tectonic.
And this was off the bat that they knew Shock had to recall. So they take all that pressure, they push in mid lane, they go for the wards that Direwolves have done so well in their history as a roster, and they find Sybil in an area of the map he shouldn't be, and once again, he's already 2 levels down.
And look how scared Gunkrab is. That's underneath his turret, but because level 6 is hit for King, here's the lightning rush away from the alley just to try and stay out of the combo range, because he knows that one shot potential is always there.
And you see big empowered Q taking Shock down to about a 3rd health. Needs to be a little bit scared of these combos. Also interested that he went Comet. Most of the time you see mid laners prefer to go airy at the moment, given the constant harass, and they're going to potentially set up a gank brush here for Gunkrab.
Cupcake wishes he had Hex Flash right now. Oh, actually,
Headbutt Pulp is going to be there. Gunkrab still has the ultimate, will flash away without using it. Very interesting.
Trance to try and explain what he did there. Of course, the hook pulls them a max distance anyway. There's like baseline distance, so he goes behind, flicks him back over his head, and of course Pyke has the dash, whereas Kennen does not.
Potentially be Gunkrab going down as well.
Nah.
Just lives, but he wanted to auto-attack a creep, so he didn't die.
But Sybil has no HP, no mana, so he has to recall. Gunkrab doesn't have TP available. Does get to stick around for this. No, pings go out. Die will stick around.
Yeah, Flash Headbutt Pulve is here, and you can see Cupcake is just threatening it time and time again.
Level 6 did just get popped, so gets a nice little bit of health back. But they are still sticking around. If they can cancel a base, we saw Triple do it in mid lane. It's super punishing.
I mean, even if they can just bring Shern down right now, they might be able to get the turret. Even without him, they are a good chance. And double Targons, Mordekaiser W, Ali passive. There is so much sustain in this bottom lane that you cannot hope to just whittle them out with a melee support.
Not to mention, you just demolish waves almost instantly. If Mordekaiser gets access, you get double relic procs every wave. You just blow it up. You have the ability. This is a Moby Rush Alistar before he even upgrades his relic shield to Targon, so he knows exactly what he wants to do. And you saw that earlier when the Alistar has the freedom to roam up to mid lane, up to behind the Taliyah to get more picks elsewhere on the map.
And right now, Tectonic nowhere is winning. It is top lane. You can see Paprise is up nearly double CS. Pulls him out of the jump. That will be Biopanther. One more time falling down. Paprise, you god.
Such a huge play. Invests in the early executioners. Gets rid of the healing. The CS lead is almost 40 here. It's going to be the turret going down as well. They're racing Mordekaiser in the bot lane.
Yeah, Mordekaiser has his dragon, but they've got 4 champions up here. Will they be able to win? Yes, they will. Lots of CS once again denied away from Gunkrab, but this time Biopanther also suffering.
But that's the thing. If they didn't have this dragon, Paprise wishes he could tell everyone to get lost. He can tell everyone to give him the solo gold, and he can just exponentially scale out of control on this Darius.
Flash Headbutt Pulve here. Already Ghost has been used from Shern. Will run in, will get balled. However, I don't think they knew the rest of Tectonic was here. Already they have to use the ultimate on Cupcake. Will get stunned up, will get flicked back, and he is just a poor moo cow without a paddock to go to. Tries to do the do-si-do. Trance tries to KS with the ultimate, doesn't get it.
He does.
Oh, did he?
Yes. He didn't get the kill, but Your cut went to Shock, so gets a nice little cheeky extra 300 gold. Those Pyke mechanics come up super clutch there. That's an uncharacteristic mistake from Dial. Just chasing blindly into the side of the map where they don't have priority. Their top laner is set so far behind. Top wave was shoved all the way into the inner turret, and Churnfire outplays the stun, but cost him his life.
And Biopanther is so far up this wave. I mean, one more pull out of a jump. He has flash available, but the apprehend, the big slow that comes out of the Darius W as well. He's in trouble.
Luckily for him, they did swap onto the other side of the map, and Direwolves had the control on bot side, so he has a lot of pinks left over from earlier where he has this time for vision control.
The thing is, does he really care about Hecarim? As we see, Cupcake, no ultimate, going to get pulled through all those stones. Flick will actually push him away. They're looking for King as well. Shern is trying to come in, join this fight. Will back away, another pick picked up.
And this is the thing, they are finding the picks. Gold lead now in Tectonic's favor. More kills. Paprise is just so absolutely enormous.
And what I was trying to say, and I'll just shorten it, Paprise can 1v2 at the moment.
Yep.
If it's just jungle top lane, 100% he kills Hecarim, he kills Aatrox. He's so far ahead.
Tectonic once again got to go for the Rift Herald. Churnfire wants a piece of trance.
Certainly does. Ooh.
He's not.
That's a nice dash away because Shern can't dash into the shadow.
Yep.
Because Wood gets stunned up, doesn't have the ultimate. Ultimate of Hecarim, for those that don't know, obviously makes him immune to CT till he lands.
Will it be a smite fight? Oh, that got to 7 HP. Churnfire had it available, but...
Yeah, Flick gonna land once again, and Shern too far forward, will fall down. Gunkrab now, even though he's 30 CS down back in this game.
And that was such a huge combo out of 2 members. Trance used the E so that the Flick landed onto his stun immediately. The synergy between these two players absolutely popping off right now. Rift Herald immediately blown in the mid lane. Triple has TP, so he can get back here if he wants, but nobody else really around just yet.
I mean, and at the same time, Shock's ultimate available, Trance's ultimate available. If he TPs, they know where he's going to be. Yep. Stun, Syndra ultimate, execute out of Trance, so he can't go for that play, has to let it fall. And Biopanther is being proxied between his turrets by Darius 2 levels higher than him.
Double CS. This isn't really going to get better. Aatrox scales fine, but he is so incredibly far behind. There's going to be a long portion of time where he just straight up is not dealing damage. For him to get back onto equal terms, that's a solid like 25, 30 minutes of even farming, assuming Tectonic don't get further and further ahead. So,
and Paprise is being obnoxious. He's just walking at him.
Yep.
He's saying, if you want to try and trade with me, go for it. You can see right now, however, the Direwolves want something top lane. Trance will not be able to stop him, and that will be Gunkrab getting soloed out potentially. Does have the flash, doesn't decide to burn it because Cupcake is already behind him.
Knew the cow was there, knew he was dead either way. Nice flank out of Direwolves, covering all bases, so they themselves get a pick. Gunkrab being picked on a little bit here. Does have his first item completed, but 2 deaths, 2 kills. Everything goes back to normal.
But I still think if this game goes late, if the team fight is there, he's going to be very safe in his peel. You're going to have to throw multiple members through a Darius, through Talia, through the orbs that are going to be spreading out. And whilst, yes, they are picking up kills, Paprise is putting the same amount of gold between him and Biopanther just in CS.
And you talked about the team fight as well, right? Like, so all the disruption that they have. Syndra stun knocking people away, any dive threat. Syndra stun denies an Alistar so heavily. Same as a Hecarim. Churnfire has dodged 2 CCs now, so looks pretty reliable, but that's very hard to do with 10 members on your screen.
Not to mention, do you know the worst item when you're a support and you have Moby Boots?
Worst item?
Yeah, like if you're the Alistar and someone buys this item, I get real mad instantly.
That?
Luden's Echo. Because they don't even have to throw stuff at you. You're always at the front line. You're looking for the big flank or something. They hit a creep. They miss their skill shot. They should not be rewarded with this. And all of a sudden, I'm running at brown bag speed.
It's like playing AFL, you know? You shoot for the goal. Yeah, points for just slightly missing. You know? You don't completely
Gave it a good crack.
Yeah, you give it. You're looking all right. Churnfire looking for more Sybil.
Yeah, certainly is. Nearly one hits him again. Trance flies in. Does get the slow there. However, Trance now in big trouble. That is going to be, once again, Gunkrab flying forward. Trance maybe looking for this. And he's going to be Paprise on the back line, looking to get some resets here. And look how tanky he is. Will get finally Mortalted up, and something happens. That's going to be a bug split. We're looking at a client, just briefly.
Oh, the worst possible moment. Pyke did unfortunately not get the reset. But that was a huge flank.
It certainly was. It looks like potentially they're still in game because they're still talking to each other. It looks like they're still clicking.
I mean, that was the observer bug splat. So Triple E's definitely still playing the game right now. I wonder, what do you reckon happened? What happened? Give me the lowdown on what just happened on the team fight.
Ah, so you want me to predict what happened in the team fight?
What are we going to go back to?
Well, they've now got the strongest member, Ghost. So this was the old, hey, let Vayne get fed because I'm going to Ghost her.
Yeah,
and then like, I'm Mordekaiser.
Smarts, dude.
So I reckon
smarts.
Darius has just picked himself up 3 kills.
Do you? I reckon Darius died.
No, so Darius died, and then Ghost Darius picked himself up 3 kills. Come on, mate, keep up. Do you know Ghost Darius still applies Darius's passive?
Oh.
Yeah, real broken.
Oh, like the bleed?
Yeah.
He's just whacking people and you're bleeding away. Oh, that hurts. Does Ghost Vayne like apply silver bolts? Or is that because it's like...
No, I think...
W? Yeah. Because they obviously don't use abilities, but
I think
any
they
auto
still
attack
have the
enhancers-
ability.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. So just don't pick auto attack enhancers when you're against a Mordekaiser. That's the strat.
Yeah, absolutely is. Actually, players are hands off keyboard.
Yeah, I think we've definitely paused.
Yep,
Game pause. Observer issue. We hit the bug splat, unfortunately, at the pinnacle time. 5 versus 5.
I was about to start popping off as well.
That was a huge TP flank. That's like Darius getting into the back line. If he didn't get chain CC, that could completely go the other way. We're assuming he didn't die. He was just on a sliver of HP before our feed cut off.
Yeah, absolutely. You see King laying back in his chair. This is something that the Direwolves do often do. They close their eyes. They concentrate on breathing. They're just trying to not get too out of tune with the game because it is very frustrating.
Yeah.
You're in the middle of a team fight. All you're thinking about is what do I need to do to execute. You're trying to not get nervous. And you can see that, you know, whatever the players can do to keep themselves in that right frame of mind, to be able to pick up the team fight exactly where they left it off, you know, is very important.
It's very important, but I maintain it's almost impossible.
Ooh.
It is so hard. You get back into the game, especially the big thing for me. Here's like support players, as Pat Rise is crying because the pause there, but support players will shed tears with me here. And you get the timers, you put them in chat, all of a sudden you're playing a competitive game of League of Legends, your PC crashes, all of a sudden your timers go, you have nothing, you have to copy them back, and it's real rough once you get back into game. You haven't had time to think about it, you haven't had time to sit there meditating and keep your frame of mind, you lose everything.
All right, cool. So I've just been notified that we are going to chrono break the game back 4 seconds.
Okay.
Because as the player notified to pause, they were killed.
Yep.
So in the spirit of the rules, we're going to go back to before that happened. And the team fight should re-pick back off. I don't think 4 seconds is enough to save us from the team fight.
Yeah, something is definitely going to break out.
So we'll get back into game as soon as we possibly can. That's all I've been told. It's chrono 4 seconds. You can see Sybil on your screen. Bit flush, bit red cheeked.
I have a question for you, Jake. What is the shortest ever amount of time that's been chrono braked?
I have no idea.
4 seconds is like
I reckon
approaching
that's
it? That's
close.
pretty...
Yeah.
That's got to be there.
Because I don't know the exact rule. So League Ops is going to start screaming in my ear furiously, shut up, stop talking.
Don't speculate.
Yeah, don't speculate about the rules. However,
you're going to do it anyway. It's fun.
Normally, you go back to before the play was impactful, is I think what I've read somewhere, and it's ringing a bell. So I remember your game, where Maokai continually twisted advanced into the giant Cho'Gath, went back to before the play was actually enacted. It was before anyone had shown on the map, which was like, in hindsight, like 15 seconds, I think, previous. Obviously, you were part of that game. Was that one of those times you struggled to maintain the team fight?
Yeah, absolutely. Because like that was a play that we wanted. We're like, Carbon just went in, he's going to die. And like we were all coming. So that was on to swipe with the W. And he was an enormous Cho'Gath, could live for so incredibly long. Because I understood the rule as a player as like pre-combat. So pre-impactful. Obviously now we're like super speculation and we're gonna get owned for this. But combat and impactful are two very different things. Because like impactful, you can be channeling a TP that's got to clean up a team fight, but you were just hitting creeps, Matt. You weren't in combat.
Yep.
Just walking back to lane.
What was more frustrating, that pause or the turkey?
Oh,
can't get off the ground moment. Does anything rival? You know what I'm talking about? IWCQ.
Yeah.
What was it? First time in Turkey, playing against the Vietnamese lineup. And
no, that was
no, Thailand lineup.
Yeah,
Bangkok
it was BKT. No, that maintains as like my worst experience because we were in the game room for like an hour and 55 minutes.
Hey, you played them 3 times and you're only supposed to play them twice.
Yep.
Beat them all 3 times as well.
And then and we lost in the final. Rip.
No, we didn't talk about that.
Okay, we just got the feed.
That was
before
the
one
only
comes through.
time on camera that I've shed tears.
Oh, I appreciate that, Jake.
Shed manly tears for Oceania.
Shed a tear for the boys.
When you've beaten people 3 times during the group stage and then crushing defeat because Egypt headbutt someone to a
come
brush.
on, man. We don't talk about
You brought it up, not me.
Okay. We don't talk about the old I'm gonna place a ward, you're gonna TP to it, and then instead of placing the ward, Swiffer Zonya'd so that Swiper couldn't TP. We don't talk about that. We talk about the one combo that I missed. Okay, sorry, man.
And the funniest thing about all of that was Monty blamed Derek.
Ray dear. Yeah, he got named worst player of the week. That was a roughie.
That was a roughie.
Yep.
However, guys, still waiting to get back into this game. It is Tectonic, actually, with about a 2,000 gold lead as this team fight is happening. Paparazzi about 100 CS and 2 kills up, as well as a couple of turrets to his name. So continuing the form he picked up in Korea. And how important is it for a young player to go to Korea and not only just experience solo queue, but experience playing against the best people? What was it like the first time you got in a game with, you know, like a god support or played against a god 80 carry in lane?
It's, for lack of a better word, like mesmerizing. The moment when you realize, like, you come back to OS, you're like, oh, I'm playing against FBI, you're playing against King. You just don't care when you've laned against Ruler. Yep. And like that moment, I think, is enormous. And for a young player like Paparazzi early on in his career to have that is pretty big. Of course, Oceania has been around for a while, but not a lot of teams have gone to Korea. That's more of a recency thing.
Yep.
Of course, if you won a lot, then you got to boot camp. But back in the day, there were less and less of these opportunities. So I think it's super cool to see the development from players that get that opportunity early and to see them grow from that point.
Because even though it's Korean solo queue, you're playing against the best LJL players. You're playing against the best Korean players, the best Chinese players, the best Taiwanese players. You know, even most of the Vietnamese players at the highest level will have accounts on Korean solo queue because the proximity to all of the Asian regions is just so close. So, you know, not only is he playing against people like, you know, the Smebs, the Khans, the Dukes of the world, he's probably also got, you know, like EDG's top laner Ray running around in solo queue as well. Playing against, you know, is Utapon still a top laner or is he back to being an 80 carry?
No idea.
Probably playing against those guys.
You know, he's still a mid laner.
Yeah, so I think, like, it's a really cool environment to, you know, be able to go over and enjoy as a player.
Also, I have this conversation amongst players, but a lot of fans don't realize when you talk about solo queue, you always have that guy on your team that's like complaining. In Korea, as an Australian that doesn't speak Korean, you don't understand anything that's being said in chat. You can communicate through pings, but a lot of players love it because you have no idea what people are saying. You just go there and it's so easy to just like put some music on, or if you play without music, don't play any music and just focus directly on the game because there's none of any of the fluff that often distracts players when they're trying to learn. And you go over there and you can just grind games.
And did you do PC Bung and Hotel, or did you just do Hotel?
I've done both technically, but the PC Bung was empty.
Okay.
So it was brand new. And
Or
it was
you
like,
just bought it yourself and was like, this is Bryce's PC Bung.
No, there was I
Put a new sign out the front.
Hold on, before we talk about this, King is dismantling his keyboard whilst this is going on. He's pulled off his arrow keys. Of course, they're not even useful with the keyboard there. Just wasting a little bit of time.
I mean, he's just cleaning his keyboard,
Yeah.
checking to see whether the switches.
Talking about keyboards, it's obviously HyperX sponsor the Direwolves. I have no idea what model that one is, but I love keyboards that aren't embedded
That are raised keys.
Yeah, that are raised keys. Because you can just take them off and you can wash that so easily.
Yeah.
As you see him doing ever so
That is one thing
gracefully
that
now.
I will say to all the gamers out there. Clean your mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, they get pretty gross.
They get filthy. We are going to be interviewing King after the game as well, I believe, if the Direwolves do pick up the victory. So hashtag IMOPL. You can ask the 80 carry of the Direwolves why he's cleaning his keys, and also you know, whether this is something he also does at the Esports High Performance Center out at the SCG. Once again, we are going to chrono break 4 seconds before, I believe it was BioPanther died, because he was told to pause the game by the league officials. He was just doing exactly as he was instructed. Fell down. So 4 seconds before that moment has been deemed, to be fair.
I want to ask him, because that's a pretty weird moment when you're playing the game and you get told to pause by a referee behind you that you kind of like cease to think about whilst you're during the game. Did he type /pause first time, or did he mistype it?
Yeah.
And then get it the second time?
I reckon someone like BioPanther, because this is going to sound so mean. I've seen you play.
Okay.
You would mistype everything.
Aww.
You hit spacebar, tab, tilde,
No, it's
like
yeah,
a million times. You hit escape, and you nearly exit games when I'm watching you.
I had to unbind my escape key because I hit it so often and it was annoying people when I was streaming and they couldn't see the game. But I hit my shot button, which is on Alt tilde, and then I hit Z and tab like all in like a quick succession. It's one of those things I tell people because
Keeps your APM up.
no, it's not about APM. It's about grounding your hand on the keyboard because you know exactly where your hand. A lot of people like.
Do you know how you ground your hand on your keyboard? Your W key has a mark on it.
Not all keyboards have a mark. Mine actually does, so what I'm telling you is completely irrelevant, but not all of them do, and it grounds your hand, and I know exactly where my keyboard is because I also move my keyboard a lot. I'm one of those people that when I'm playing is constantly readjusting it. But it's weird because I readjust it out of where it should be just to put it back in. But
You're
there we go.
a strange player.
All right, it's all right. At least I don't play full AP alley.
But the way I play full APL is normal. The build itself might be strange.
Yep.
But we are back into the game. Over the wall he goes. So what was that? It was a 2 for 2 trade in the end. So pretty normalized.
So Pat Price came in. He died. TP is gone. Trance died. And yeah, as you mentioned, Air Drake. Pat Price is, that's a ghost.
That's a ghost. Oh, I
that
thought that was a real Papyrus.
Yeah, could have been scared for a second there.
I was like, that's a sick new Darius skin. How did he get on the other team?
A little bit see-through, you know, transparency.
Imagine that if you were defect.
You got like a defect skin?
No, like as in you could change to the other team. You know in Age of Empires where if you didn't lock the team, all of a sudden you'd be like, I'm going to play 4 computers. And then a computer would randomly join your team. You're like, what the heck are you doing here, man?
I don't actually remember that.
Don't you?
No.
So you had to lock teams.
Yeah.
Imagine if you, like, the Hecarim was just like, I don't want to jungle for this team anymore. I'm going to the blue side. However, it is going to be Direwolf starting up a dragon. See whether Tectonic challenge. No, they do not. So another big dragon going to go across. And Biopanther now looking for Papyrus. Gets pushed out of the knockup. However, gets speared back and will fall down.
And this is such huge momentum for the Direwolf. Suddenly that's 2 team fights, 10 members on your screen. Tectonic were kind of backing away, but they picked on Papyrus, who is so far ahead. First one is the shutdown. Second one is not, but that's such a loss of tempo for the Darius. That was like an approaching what would be 100 CS lead. Now he's only 70, but it's just giving the Aatrox Biopanther a little bit more space.
And anytime you're not farming, you're falling behind. As a Darius, you need to stay ahead of the curve. True for so many of the juggernauts that were brought into League of Legends. Now looking for a play middle lane. It's going to be Sybil, Gunkrab, and look at where Trance is. Trance was on their side of the map. It was in enemy lines.
Looking for the deep flank, because Pyke is one of those weird champions where he has a ton of different combos. He can close so much of a distance. You can ulti, you can flash, and your E travels with you. You can get behind people and then fling them into your team.
Now potentially looking for Karma top lane. It certainly is. Smelt that one, though.
I mean, Pyke, he did drown, you know. Stuck underwater, he probably doesn't smell too good, so. Takes a whiff and walks away from the gank there. It's going to be the Zhonya's second item picked up by King, so does a whole lot of damage, has the tankiness from the Rylai's, the armor from the Zhonya's, and has that get out of jail free card, which is especially useful against something like the Syndra.
And it has been 2 dragons so far picked up for the Mordekaiser. We'll see whether they continue to place priorities on it. Not the best dragons, however, Mountain never really bad.
But also, to take a look at something I talked about earlier, they've only got 1 single turret with those 2 dragons by the Mordekaiser. Because Tectonic were in the lead, they've broken the complete outer ring. They have more access to the map as they're going to look for Shern
here. Looking for Shern. The hook will come out. Goes back behind his red buff.
Nice.
Very smart play from Shern.
Uncrack's looking.
However, Flick there has to use the ultimate. Also use... Is that the wall that I saw, or was that just a bit of the ulti? No. Cupcake, going to look for an engage. Does not find one. Bottom lane, you can see big pressure once again being put out onto Biopanther. Even though he was dead for a bit, he's still 100 CS and 2 levels above him.
Still absolutely in a hole here as Paprai's going to walk over to mid lane, looking to get a hook there. Does land onto Cupcake.
Yeah, and Cupcake gets stunned up. Will get flicked back. Will they use an ultimate on him? No, they will just continue to try and whittle him down, and he will flash to safety.
Buys enough time with the ulti, but he does get out with his life. Flash gone. It's an incredibly big cooldown for Alistar. They don't have a lot of engage tools. You need the alley to be going in. Shernfire, although incredibly strong, is incredibly squishy. So if he gets denied, if Kennen CC, Syndra CC, anything like that happens, then all of a sudden you can't rely on the Alistar to follow you up.
You're a big Alistar player.
Yep.
And you play it properly. So I'll ask you this question.
Okay.
Do you ever, in that situation, you've used ultimate, You obviously, the only way you live is by flashing. You look down your team comp, you're like, the only way we get engaged is if I flash hit by pole someone. Do you ever just drop your life?
Absolutely. 100%. It's on a case-by-case basis, whether you think you need to or whether you like just literally think about it in the moment. But it's definitely a consideration for supports and just champions in general that rely on flash.
He could have died.
Because ultimately you're giving up the 300 gold of your deck and some tempo on the map, but if that flash is going to win you a team fight 2 minutes from now, then 100% it's a worthwhile trade.
Well, he may as well have been, you know, dead at that point because he wasn't going to help defend the turret. He has no flash. He has no ultimate. As a level 10 Alistair with, you know, Moby boots as well as a Sightstone, you're not going to be flying into a backline with 300 health. So it's just one of those things that I thought I would ask because that's one of those times that you don't know whether that's discussed.
It's also definitely a consideration because if you take a look at his build, he's going for the glory. So Cupcake is well aware of the fact that he needs to be the one engaging the fights. He's not going for Zeeks, he's not going for Locket, no defensive tools. He just wants to get in there, needs to be able to pull the trigger on these engages. So having that flash down buys Tectonic a lot of time.
And whilst we have to say that, you know, Papra is very far ahead in this matchup, the lead is stabilizing. Flick is going to be there, pushes them back away. Of course, if you're a Sybil, the last thing you want to do is push a Mordekaiser on top of yourself. I was going to say the lead is increasing for that Mordekaiser, as previously mentioned. He's up 50 CS, and, you know, pretty much a full item at this stage. 3-0-2.
Everything stalling up, but because Sybil's on the Talia, and there's no tank line other than the off-tank and the Darius, who just wants to be splitting in the side lane. Tectonic have no real way to actually start up the Baron. They haven't even cleared out the pink ward in the pit, which I think they do not know is there.
Yeah, that's very interesting because their wards aren't deep in the pit. But you would assume that if they've had access to the back, if they just would have drove by, dropped a ward in the back.
Because Shock has a pink ward right now. He can place that in the pink ward in the pit to deny Direwolves that vision. Because if you're trying to set up a Baron and the other team just knows you're not actually doing it, of course they can kind of glean that from the composition, but it just means Direwolves just want to sustain right now. They just want to catch these waves, push out buy some time for Biopanther in the side lane. They don't want to be getting picked off around the Baron. They need Ali flash up to really force things. Churnfire didn't have his ulti because he got caught out before, so they're just waiting for these cooldowns, and if Tectonic can force them to check the Baron, then it's super rough. But because they have that vision, there's really no threat there.
Absolutely, as we take a look at Biopanther continuing to clear out with this Titanic Hydra, is still going to go towards what will probably be that Quinces, as now gets pulled back in. Is the knockup going to be there? Uses the ultimate. Big damage coming out. That will be Shern over the wall. They actually flash for him as well. Gets the heal, looking to try and survive. Will not, and Sybil just comes in for his demise. No flashes over the wall. But that is still a pick for nothing.
And that is the pick they need onto Paprise. He's so incredibly strong, the strongest member of their team. All of a sudden, Dragon spawning in 8 seconds.
Good hook there. Flick will just miss. Mistimed from Sybil. That should have been comboable. Probably should have been a flash. This will be another Dragon, as you mentioned, another Ocean.
And I have to think they're going to go straight up mid with this. The wave does get pushed in by Tectonic. They're looking topside to try and get some pressure, but they really want to break this turret, especially against a control mage like Syndra. She doesn't want to have to go to the side lane. Has no TP, so Tectonic kind of sitting around the Baron right now trying to pull Direwolves over because they know if they set up mid, there's no way for them to defend.
And now they have themselves, you know, big flash advantages. No flash on Darius. No flash on Talia. Both very immobile, low mobility.
And was it Deft that was just controlling his Dragon instead of the Mordekaiser? Can King do both? We're about to find out. Hitting the turret.
Cupcake actually headbutt pulp underneath the turret. We'll get another flash out. That should be potentially the turret falling down. No, they're still sitting here valiantly trying to defend it. Dragons are so tanky.
He is absolutely tanky. 1800 HP. King was actually hitting champions instead of the turret there with the Dragon. Sybil gets a nice chunk as well. But with the wave pushing on the top side, Churnfire just going to go farm Golem, so Direwolves kind of scrapping the idea going mid. Well defended by Tectonic.
Yeah, absolutely. But still, they are building towards what will be a huge Elder Dragon composition as this game progresses. They're going to have probably 4 Dragons for it. And the next Dragon, because it will be around the 30-minute mark, you don't even take to turrets at that stage. You just walk it straight to the Baron pit, and you say, you know what, this thing can take it for literally the entirety of Baron's life.
Not to mention, like, if you put it between you and the enemy team, like, it's blocking skill shots. It is so big. It's enormous, hard to get through. This Gunkrab's just going to farm out. Huge wave on the top side. Maxes the W and the E for that wave clear. Doesn't want the Q, of course. Not going AP means that poke damage that you traditionally see in a cannon in lane. Not really there. You just want the extra cooldown on your ability to stun.
That's the first time Paprise has walked into the lane and not gone at Biopanther. Instead goes for the creeps. So maybe the damage from Biopanther starting to stack up a little bit. Flash back available for Cupcake.
Keep our eyes on him.
Do they now win the fight?
Well, they did just burn the flash from Shock, which is the big target. Of course, if you get onto Kennen, you're going to get immediately CC. But if you can blow up Shock before he gets access to that ultimate, all of a sudden that's a huge chunk of AP damage gone. Sybil is pretty far behind at this point in comparison to Schönfire, so his AP damage not really too large there. Is Tectonic looking for a pick?
And this is something that teams do not do well against Direwolves, but Tectonic have been able to do. That's control topside vision. You can see Trance time and time again is walking into that with mid lane priority and trying to get some control over that area. And Direwolves now go for the engage. Flash headbutt pole. That will be Shock going to Zhonya's King on the back line. Shock still alive. Does he get the ultimate off? Yes, he does. And then you can see on the back end, King still going massive. Will flash over the wall. Hook back on. However, Triple now can continue this fight. Trance maybe with the wrong target there. That will be Gunkrab going into Lightning Rush, trying to defend this mid lane turret. A pick for nothing. Direwolves win the fight.
And the stopwatch bought so much time there, but Shock eventually does go down. Neither top laner can TP in. They can both cancel each other. So Sybil fighting with Triple right now.
Yeah, Flick needs to land. Does not land. And that will be, once again, Sybil falling down potentially. Actually goes into Zhonya's. Is trying to buy as much time as possible. That is, again, Triple very smart. Just uses a tether.
And that's incredibly smart. Doesn't go for the skill shot. Knows it can miss. Sybil can dodge away from that one, just hits him with the Mantra W, heals himself up at the same time. All of a sudden, a reliable kill goes down, and Biopanther once again, the recipient of a bit of goodwill here. All of a sudden, Direwolves winning on the top side of the map, buys him some time because Paprise has to group over. He has to defend mid from the jungler of Direwolves.
And now they burn all of their teleports. That's 3 of them, Bryce, to immediately start rushing the Baron. You can see pings are going out. They know this is happening, but with the jungler dead for another 10 seconds, how do they stop it? Gunkrab, no ultimate available. Hex Flash back into the pit. That will be Baron falling down. Headbutt pole onto Gunkrab. He will have to try and kite away, but it is not going to work. AD carry will be picked up, and this is Direwolves once again running away with it.
And all Tectonic wanted to do was get to the Baron pit, but that meant they came from 2 different angles. Darius, Syndra split off from the right, so Gunkrab is an easy target for the Direwolves. They take down the Baron, they get the buff. Nothing that Tectonic can do. The carries from the other side. All of a sudden, Direwolves completely in control.
Yeah, and you can see they're continually pushing down top lane turret. They have such a big creep wave stacked up. King can stay if he wants. However, Trance calls the bluff, says, we're going to take the mid lane turret. That's a trade up at the same time. Now Paprise being engaged onto. They will continue here. However, that is going to be massive damage coming out of Paprise. The dunk is there. Will he burn down? Yes, he will. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Shern looking to come in. Sybil one more time. Will get feared. Will have to burn the flash, and there is just no stopping whatever the heck Hecarim is. You can see now he's looking at Shock. Will get pushed away. Triple flashing forward. Will pick up another kill, and that is a 2-for-1 trade.
And I was going to say a 1-for-1 onto the alley is not as bad as it seems. All of a sudden, Direwolves don't have the engage. They need to pull the trigger on a dive, and you can slowly stall out the Baron, but 2 people dead. The strongest member of Tectonic. As we see them flash onto your screen, Direwolves have all the control in the world to just shove up mid.
Yeah, they certainly do, and this protect the Hecarim comp. Every shield is going onto Shern, and he is just not falling down. It's being so successful. Trance now in melee range will take half of his health. This will be the first inhibitor of the game going down.
And we haven't even talked about the change to Celerity on patch 8.12. No longer gives you as much move speed, but the move speed you have turns into more AD. So when you have a Karma speeding a Hecarim in, you give him the attack speed from the Ardent Center as well. He gets into the backline. The burst is so huge and has that sustained DPS. He's ahead of the curve with the Spirit Visage, so all of a sudden he stays alive. As he talked about, to protect the Schönfire composition, 60 CS up in the jungle, 6 kills, he's a monster.
And now, 4th Dragon of the game has spawned. Mid inhibitor down. They have their AD carry top side of the map. He does have teleport. However, this is so crucial. If the Direwolves pick this one up, you feel like they can just take it bottom lane with Baron and look to win the game.
Tectonic looking to tentatively try and contest. Actually, no, that's going to be the TP from Gunkrab. They want to make something happen here, but it's going to be tough over the wall.
Going to be very tough. Instead, they try and pull it out. Dragon actually gets a little bit mad at them, does the do-si-do, but they're just too far away. Can they actually get it? No, they will throw some
combo.
Works at it, but combo one more time onto Paprise. Will flash back in. Will take so much damage. Will fall down. Shern at the same time. Will go low. Will fall. Pyke will fall down. And that's a double kill right now for Biopanther, trying to chase through a Syndra. You can see continuing forward.
And Schönfire does such a good thing there. He does lose his life, but he splits the Darius from the 4 members of Tectonic. All of a sudden, strongest member dies. Very easy cleanup for Direwolves. It's a Dragon in the base. Baron's still on them. They're going to look to the end.
And that was a suspect engage from Paprise looking for that. However, with the Baron up creeps, with the Dragon, Hex Flash forward from the Alistar. First Nexus turret will fall. They need to make something happen now if they want to continue a win streak. Guncrab caught out, headbutt pole, and death. Second turret falls, and the Dragon will get the last hit. Direwolves take this 2-0.
And they take it with a non-traditional AD carry. That's a Mordekaiser in the bottom lane. King hasn't played too much of that style, sticking to more of the Ezreal, the Kai'Sa.
Played the Jace last week. A little bit different. Still has a ranged attack, I guess.
Still an AD carry, Mordekaiser. Going towards more of the AP, but as you mentioned, different compositions. Strong 2-0 out of the Direwolves. Of course, Tectonic had control of the early game.
I was going to say that. If you're Tectonic, are you now disappointed with that result? Because they were up 3,000 gold with a Darius 100 CS up. If they just did not team fight, didn't engage in that and left Darius to split push, that was a very heavily favored Tectonic game.
Yep.
You know, we already mentioned the lack of siege, the lack of engage apart from the Alistar. The rest of the comp should have been able to stay safe, but they, you know, questionable decisions in the mid game ultimately cost them.
It's interesting because you asked me, like, should they be disappointed? From that stage in the game, maybe. But in terms of, like, an overall week coming into it, Direwolves have looked like one of the strongest teams. I would say Chiefs look stronger. But, of course, you got that upset win versus Order. But that's not a reliable game plan to go into. So now losing to Direwolves, like, you're okay with that. If you can beat Order, if you can beat AV, you can beat Legacy, the more middle of the pack teams, losing to Direwolves, I think, shouldn't shake them too much.
All right, cool. You see handshakes there. BioPanther fell down very hard early. However, in a carry versus carry matchup, got to give credit to the young man. Battled his way back in. His mentality seems to be good, something that the Direwolves always known for.
And that was in a tank versus carry, then a carry versus carry. And that was the big weakness that we showed coming into the week. So as you mentioned, yeah, have to give props.
Yeah, and Paprise is someone that has had a couple of good weeks of the OPL. Had a poor one against Pabu, but certainly seeing growth from another very new player in the OPL.
Especially coming back from Korea with all the hype behind him. So many top laners are saying that he's just not where he thinks he is. But, of course, plays very well on the Darius. Unfortunately, fell down, but yeah, looking rough.
Yeah, absolutely. And now Shern with two heavy farm-style junglers, able to get back to a lot more of his old habits, looking very promising.
And that's the thing. This is like a completely different style from the Direwolves, I think. He's played a lot of these different champions, coming in with that farm style, all of the pressure going towards mid lane, but then into the jungle as well. This is something that I honestly didn't expect coming into 8.12, coming into this week, but came out of nowhere. We saw a glimpse of it last week with the Hecarim. Looked very successful, so they just repeat.
Yeah, and one of the things I didn't expect was one of the most mechanically gifted players in the league to pick something like Mordekaiser. However, he did, and he is sitting alongside with our couch right now. Let's toss it over to Nick and King.
Thanks, guys. And King, congratulations on the win.
Thank you. It wasn't the best win, but yeah, I'll take it. 2-0.
Yeah, you don't need the best. You just need the win in the end, right? That's why we're here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess after them 2-0ing Order, I mean, it feels pretty good to not get 2-0'd by them.
Tim?
Is this part of the Direwolf uniform? Does everyone get
Right. So I'm going to say,
Because
rain
we
in
do
Sydney,
black pants here. This is black skinny jeans couch.
Yeah,
So
but
breaking tradition.
all my black pants, like,
Well,
I was... I dry break recently, and then it's been raining, like, what, 6 days or 5 days now, and
Yeah.
nothing's going to dry on the drying line, so I had to
Had to
wear
break 'em
these.
out. Had no
Had to
choice.
bust these ones out. I mean, I love them. These are like my favorite pants. Got them in London.
Flexing
boot
on
camp.
and off the rift. Mordekaiser, what's up with that?
Alright, so if anyone has played Challenger solo queue, they know I'm a Mordekaiser menace. But I mean, I thought I was good at Mordekaiser, but
Yeah.
recently I checked my win rates and
Not so hot.
hovering between the 17 and 14%.
That's not a lot.
But
That's a pretty low
despite
number.
that, I think I'm the best Mordekaiser
You
player in
reckon?
the server.
Have we seen any others? The only other Mord I know, I don't want to say his name on broadcast, but it's Dis.
That's
the only other Mord
I
player
don't know.
I know.
I haven't
all
seen him
those.
play Mord, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, I think I'm surprised no one here has played it. I think he's like too clunky and slow for some players, like to enjoy
Yeah.
him. But like the clunkiness and slowness is just what makes it so funny to play.
He's
That's
pretty
why I
good
play
when
it.
you get like every dragon though.
I mean,
You got like 4 dragons in a row.
I don't even know how to control the dragon. Like the dragon
doing
doesn't
its
even
own
like.
thing.
It just sometimes like attack the tower, then just starts like running into the like down the lane. I'm just like I don't know what to do. But yeah,
There
it's
was
a
one
dragon.
point where like you're like sending the dragon in and like Kennon's like autoing it,
Oh,
but like
yeah,
he
yeah.
kept like walking out and then like back in and walking
That
out. He
wa-
just
that
stayed
wasn't
on
me.
400. Was that you?
It wasn't me.
Oh,
He had a
okay.
mind stone.
I thought you were trolling.
How did you find the turnaround between Tectonic were doing pretty well in that second game and pushing ahead. Where did you guys find was the tipping point to bring it back in your favor?
I just remember feeling really like, because last week we dropped the second game with AV, and then that game I'm like, not again. But I don't remember exactly what turn. I think it was a team fight around Dragon.
It may have been. There was a massive pause in the middle of the game where things happened.
Yeah, but I think we just figured out what we wanted to do. Like, we have Alistar, Hecarim, Karma, Maud. Just run at them and kill them, and then we did it, and yeah, we got the advantage back.
When a pause happens like that, like, what are you thinking about? Because, like, on the cam, all we see is you, like, maxing out, like, full recline on the chair. But, like, what's going through your mind while the game is paused?
I think you were also pulling apart your keyboard, right? Someone was. Someone at
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, no, it was you.
Like, so at the start, you're like, oh, whatever, it's just a pause. And then, like, 10 minutes later, you're just like, I want to get back into the game. Like, I can't stand being here, but you can't talk to your teammates. That's the worst bit. You just look at each other like, I'm just looking at Andy like,
Trying to make, like, like blinking Morse code.
But yeah, it's just, I think that's a big thing. Like, some people actually can't recover from the big pauses. Like,
it's real hard. Like, I always found, like, to remember, like, what the point at what point in the game you're in. It's like, oh shit, what just happened? Like, what was I supposed? Because, like, before the pause, you knew exactly, like, oh, like, got to go clear this mid wave. But then you sit there for 10 minutes, and it's like, wait, what am I doing?
yeah, because it's not something that you can really train. Because it's like, say you're scrimming and like the enemy team have to pause, you just like,
Just keep talking.
right, everyone, just start like playing ping pong or hop on Twitter or something. But like when you actually just have to sit there and stare at your screen, it's a skill actually.
Yeah,
to
it's like
Hard to keep
a
your mind
mental.
active.
Yeah, it's like a mental skill that you need to start flexing. And I've also got a question coming in from Twitter from my WCE1 who says, this question is for King. After your performance at MSI, what areas do you think you need to work on and change heading into the rest of this split and Worlds?
What I realized was the biggest issue for me was actually my mentality. Like, I think I was skilled enough and like ready to win the playing stage, like come up first, but like mentally I was nowhere near. And playing with Andy, alongside Andy, I realized like League is like 80% mental. Like the mental game was so huge, and I was not ready for that stage.
And when you say not ready, do you feel like it was about the pressure, or it was about the amount of time that you need to be playing and staying focused? Is it the positivity? Like what's mental state?
It was the reason why I was playing. Like, obviously, like now that like everyone, I mean not everyone, but there's a lot of good ADC players like coming up in the server, and my performance internationally has been good. I really just want to like prove that I was a good, like the best, like one of the best in the server still. But as I faltered, it just like snowballed on itself, and I was like, oh, why do I keep making these mistakes? And then that made me make more mistakes. But yeah, you really play the best when like you're out there to play League of Legends. Like I wasn't there to play League, I was there to prove myself, and that isn't what you want to be thinking when you're like playing the most important games of your life.
Well, it feels like you're in a better headspace now. Congratulations on the win. Looking forward to the rest of the series of the split. Sorry. Next up, we'll be seeing Avant versus Order go head to head, seeing who comes out on top. Stick around.
Jern will pop the ghost. Will do half of his health. Flash pole. First blood picked up. Once again, Guncrab flying forward. Trance maybe looking for this. And he's going to be Paprise on the back line. Looking to get some resets here. Biopanther now looking for Paprise. Gets pushed out of the knockup, however, gets speared back and will fall down. And Direwolves now go for the engage. Flash headbutt pole. That will be Shock. Going to Zonya's. King on the back line. Shock still alive. Does he get the ultimate off? Yes, he does. And then you can see on the back end, King still going massive. Will flash over the wall. The dunk is there. Will he burn down? Yes, he will. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Jern looking to come in. Sybil one more time. Will get feared. Will have to burn the flash. And there is just no stopping whatever the heck Hecarim is. You can see now he's looking at Shock. Will get pushed away. Triple flashing forward. Will pick up another kill. And the combo one more time onto Paprise. Will flash back in. Will take so much damage. Will fall down. Jern at the same time. Will go low. Will fall. Pyke will fall down. And that's a double kill right now for Biopanther. A second turret falls. And the Dragon will get the last hit. Direwolves take this 2-0.